to the questions section here. So I have reached the end of the presentation that I want to share with you guys. Remember, you do get a copy of that. So it's your chance to submit your questions and your queries. Anything that you want to know, please go ahead and ask. I can see there's some coming through. I'm going to let Esther take the lead, and you can be the compere and start off with the easy questions.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So the first question I see, should one worry for the number of followers? If so, what's the best strategy?
Okay, so in terms of followers, I'm just going to assume that you mean on the corporate profile instead of your own personal profile. That is a question we get asked a lot for organizations, and you're building it from scratch. So it is going to take a little bit of time to get built up. But for your corporate profile, remember, you can invite all of your connections, and I would encourage you to do that as the starting point. The other thing you can do is just create frequent content and share that, and create content that will get reactions and comments and shares. So it is about investing in your content to get your corporate profile up and running. It's not something I would be obsessed about. It's not something that I would worry about. It takes time to build up, but there are ways of actually building that over time and growing your audience.
Perfect. So the next question is, should the goal of networking be to spread as much awareness of your business as possible, or more targeting certain markets?
John, that does come down to your organization and your organizational goals. So if you were using LinkedIn as part of your lead generation strategy for your organization, then you absolutely would want to be creating content within industry groups, or indeed creating industry groups yourself. But I think that it is important that you're investing in creating content, that your network can see that. Like, I've used LinkedIn quite a lot recently to ask for recommendations, and that has been recommendations on website development companies, recommendations for graphic designers. And some of the most unusual people have come back and commented on that, not people I initially would have asked, but I've been able to crowdsource suggestions. So that is ultimately a good thing. And you never know who's seeing your content or where that opportunity might arise. So I think that when it comes to LinkedIn, awareness needs to be a key element of it, but it depends how you're using LinkedIn within your overall sales and marketing strategy. There's lots of ways you can strategically search for people that you want to get in front of. There's lots of ways you can strategically get in front of people who are already interested in a particular topic or an industry through a group. So I don't think it has to be one or the other. Awareness is fantastic, and then you can have your strategic activities over the top of that.
Perfect. So the next question is, are all these options available if you have the basic LinkedIn profile, or do you need a professional or business subscription?
So the likes of the profile updates, your corporate page, etc., that's all available for free. The real benefits of the business subscription or the premium is the profile visibility. So as you saw there just towards the end, if you pay for a subscription, you can see who has viewed your profile. You can also get more insights about how your profile is performing against others. But the content that we looked at earlier on within the presentation, that's all available for free. You don't need to have a pay for subscription to access that.
Perfect. In terms of badges, I've seen people using a badge over their profile photo saying open for work or similar. What are your thoughts on this? Is it a good thing, or does it make you look a bit desperate?
Times have certainly changed, Corey. I mean, we faced a lot of new challenges throughout the coronavirus pandemic. I think it depends how you do that. I don't think that using an open for work badge looks desperate, because LinkedIn is a hub for networking, collaboration, for growing your connections, etc. I think if you were to post frequently saying, I desperately need a job, help, that could look a bit desperate. But I've seen lots of posts recently where people have just said, look, I've been in an industry, or I've been with this company for nearly 20 years. The pandemic has changed the conditions. I now find myself unemployed. Here's what I'm really good at. So if you know of someone that needs these skills, feel free to connect me. And they've had phenomenal results. They've had people from right across the world connecting them with their friends or colleagues. And then a few days later, I've seen post edit, I'm now employed with this organization. I start Monday. So I think it's something that you can do in a really tasteful way. I don't think it looks desperate to use the badge. It's really just about putting your profile out there and saying, here's what I'm interested in. Here's the opportunities that I'm working for or that I'm looking for. And remember, your network should really be built of people who are going to support you, who are some of your biggest supporters, collaborators, etc. And so on the most, that should get a positive reaction.
Perfect. The next question was for me. How long can videos be on LinkedIn?
Oh, good question. I've actually forgotten the exact detail because I'm normally training on like Facebook videos and Instagram videos and LinkedIn videos. So I'm going to be honest, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I will find out and include that link within the presentation deck, because within the LinkedIn business section, it does tell us, but I have drawn a blank. So I don't know right now, but I will make sure I share the answer with you guys.
No problem, thank you. What is the ideal number of hashtags to use in a LinkedIn when posting content?
So the good news is that you don't necessarily have like a limit or anything with hashtags, but typically about 4 to 5 is quite good. If you go to town and use like 15, it can look a little bit overwhelming and it does have that spammy look about it. So typically I would include 3, 4 or 5 hashtags that are relevant. Now, the other thing about hashtags that I didn't mention that I can share with you guys now is that if you include a hashtag in your post, it increases the likelihood of your post showing up within news feeds against that hashtag. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to look and see if we have an example within the news feed. And if not, I can just go in and show you this. Insert, sorry if I'm making anyone dizzy. It's not coming up within the news feed, but I follow the hashtag digital marketing, and occasionally I will see a post that appears in my news feed, and I'm seeing it because it has this hashtag in it. So it says, because you follow digital marketing, we're showing you this post. So Marcus, I'm not connected with Marcus. He's a second degree connection. This was posted 54 minutes ago, so while we've been on the webinar, but somewhere within here, Marcus must use the hashtag digital marketing. Yep, he does there. So I can see this post because I'm following digital marketing and Marcus has used that hashtag recently. So now that content's being presented to me, I have no previous experience of Marcus. I don't know what he does or what his content is about, but I'm now seeing it in front of me. So I am getting a chance to interact with that. So hashtags not only help us to group content together, they also can bring your content in front of people who are already interested in that kind of content. Now he's used 4, so that kind of proves the point that I had just mentioned. Let's see what the next one is using. 3. Okay, that's thereabouts. So 3 doesn't look overwhelming. That looks kind of good. So I think 3, 4, 5 hashtags work really well. It's not spammy looking, and you have a number of keywords there that will help you within your journey.
Perfect. And then the last question we have here is there a guide to be followed for content creation, use of hashtags? You kind of covered that in the last question there.
There's not a guide as such, but what I would say is that I would not go after sounds a little bit weird, but I mean, follow people within the industry that you feel are really good content creators or those who you respect. So in terms of digital marketing, there's some really, really talented digital marketers that I would follow on lots of different platforms, LinkedIn being one, and I would see and watch what they're doing. So people who are naturally innovative use the latest features. So I see them using LinkedIn events, I see them using live streaming, etc. And that's my inspiration. Is there a content creation guide? There's lots of third-party documents and presentations and webinars on how to create content for LinkedIn. But what it will do is present to you content ideas like questions, polls, a day in the life of, interesting facts on this day. What else might we have? New products and services. So the content that you're creating for LinkedIn isn't really distinctively different from the content that you're creating for the likes of Facebook or Instagram. You just might purpose it slightly differently. Instagram, as you know, is all about the image, so that will be front and center. But typically when I'm working with an organization, we sit down and consider what the social media content will be. And then we just personalize that for each channel. So we use a really strong image for Instagram. We include our hashtags on LinkedIn. We maybe just change the message slightly so it's relevant to that audience, etc. But Hootsuite is a really great resource, and HubSpot as well if you wanted some more information on content creation for social media in general or for LinkedIn.
Brilliant. So that is all of our questions. So thank you so much, Emma, for everything. It just seen in the chat, I'm sure you can see it as well. Like, everyone really enjoyed it and it was very informative. So thank you very much. And we will be sending everyone Emma's presentation via email. And then we have next week's workshop with you again, a DIY guide on social media and advertising. So we're excited for that as well.